So that one's a Coolaman that we cut years ago. I think that was cut for a NAIDOC for smoking ceremonies. So probably 6 or 7 years ago. But you can see here the roll of the scar. Right, that's what's called the roll. That's how we age. So if you do see a scar somewhere, the thickness of that roll there tells you the age of the scar. That's the oldest way of dating them. Right, so then to see whether it was pre-colonial or after colonial, whether it was an actual Coolaman scar that was cut or whether it was a damage, right, would tell you when that scar was made. Right? Especially for large ones, if we're looking for canoe scars or humpy shelter scars, you know, we'd measure it by the roll of that scar there from that point around to there. Right? You can actually see the cut marks where that one was cut. Yeah. So that's how we scar a tree. You normally take it, if you take it off this side of the tree, this is the northern side of the tree, so the bark's thinner on this one. So if you want a thicker one, you go around to the other side, but you've got to do it at the right time. All right, you can even, as we walk around, you can do it on any tree. You'll see one side of the tree is cold, one side of the tree is hot, all right, because this gets the winter sun. All right, it's thinner bark to allow the heat into the tree. And on this side, it's thicker bark to retain the heat that it has. All right, so much harder to work. You get a much bigger Coolaman. All right, much easier to work, easier to get off. The sap will move freely here. The sap will be very thick and gluey on this side. So even understanding how the tree grows and how it operates, and whether we come in the morning, because in the morning, you know, the tree could be drawing moisture out of the air, all right, from the mist of the night sky or the morning sky, and putting it down into the roots, and then it'll retain it in the roots during the day, turn it into sugars, and draw it back up in the afternoon. So when the sap's moving, right? So we had to understand all of those things if you wanted to cut a canoe, you know, which we're not going to cut off a tree like this, all right, because it's so big that you had to know exactly when to go, what time of day, what time of year, things like that. So all those were knowledges that were passed down.
Oh, your tree's just here somewhere, but did you want to show people that?
This one?
It's a good material for making artefacts and blades and
that one's
flakes.
Crystal quartz. So if we were going to be making blades and that, and you might get to see some when we walk further down here where there are old blades. But for a knife material and things like that, these are good. For an axe, it's way too hard, you know, so it will shatter if you're using it as an axe. It can't handle impact, but makes beautiful knives. But yeah, we used to use them for magic as well. So, and because this is sandstone country here, we're going to have all the rocks that come, they're all from the bottom of the ocean floor. All right, so we've got all the quartz and things like that. We'll see them as we walk around through the pagodas. Yeah.
So different shapes represent different things on country, and so again, still learning a lot about that process, but they could indicate boundaries or women's areas or direction to water. Yeah, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So
there's a number of them around Mudgee still. For years and years they tried to say that the weather had made it form, that the wind blew and the tree got tied up with itself, and that's how it grew into itself. But we've got historical records that talk of the ring trees, and they were used pretty well all over Australia. Even plaited trees, yeah. My grandfather taught us plaiting trees, especially the wattle. So after the fires out in the parks, you've seen the wattles grown really thick, really tall. Well, we didn't have that because we didn't have the hot fires. But when they did grow after the cold fires, and then you plat them together, sometimes it was for aesthetics. Other times, if you plat enough of them, once they turn and grow for the sun, we had a boomerang factory. Yeah, so you'll get 4 boomerangs out of the one tree. So you plat 3 of them together and lay them on the ground like that, and as they turn to grow for the sun.
Where are you?
Right. Yeah, you've got a whole factory and you've just platted an area like that. So it wasn't that you wandered around the bush for hours and hours searching for the bent stick to make your boomerang out of. You went to where you grew them. Yeah. So, yeah. Ring trees are, they're very special. To find one, to know of it, and yeah. Yeah, you'll see the burnt ground here. So if we burn, this one was burnt late autumn. If we were to burn in spring, we would have the hot summer on a burnt ground. So we would double burn the ground. Yeah. So for doing regeneration burns or fire stick farming, we'd normally burn in autumn. So then it has the winter on the ground, which then sets the ash into the ground. So once it sets the ash into the ground, we're also putting nutrients into the ground. So the ash will break up the sand bed, but also if you dig down, you'll see that the ash has got in, but even the leaves underneath and the small bits didn't burn. Okay, so it only takes the top centimetre and then it only singes anything below that. So not only did we put ash into the ground, but we put nutrients into the ground. So essentially what we're doing is growing soil, all right? So biochar farming. So what they now call biochar, which they're doing on a small scale, we did it on an enormous scale. Yeah. So fire stick farming wasn't just about generating new life and setting new seed, right? Because a lot of our larger things, our ukes, the seed is either smoke triggered or heat triggered from the fire. So that will open the seed pod to allow the seed to fall out. The ash in the ground will score the seed because our seed has to be scored. Now in a what do you call it? Where we propagate them, we tumble them in sand in a cement mixer to score them, right? But in nature, the ash did it for us. So the ash would score the seed, set the seed. So you can even see here, as you move around, the ash sitting on the surface, but you move underneath it, and you can see how much we've down to the sand bed. So we've added that much. We've added almost an inch of soil and nutrient. Yeah. So it's not just about burning and allowing the new grass to come, it's about adding to it. Yeah. The early records showed or said that when they came through on the horses, they had to get off and walk the horses because they were too heavy and their feet went so deep into the soil that they couldn't ride the horses, and we don't have that soil now. It's also had some kind, it's been ring barked, that's what killed the tree. That scar's not part of the ring barking. Yeah. You can see that that scar's that big and that deep, so you never know. It may have been that one because you see the grain all runs in one direction. Yeah. So that would have come to here, to there. So you never know, they may have been that may have been the old cut mark there. Yeah. Yeah, that one's been ring barked. One of the things out here that the government actually promoted was if you do have a scar tree or something on your property, get rid of it, because if Aboriginal people find out, they'll come and take your land, and that was after in the 1990s, they were still promoting that in Victoria. So we're not talking 1890s, this 1990s. I've seen the letter. And the first ones were after the Mabo decision that, you know, if you have anything that shows, because that shows life, it shows living, it shows community. It doesn't show transient and it doesn't show hunter-gatherer. It shows that there was an intelligent life going on, systematic, you know, community, yeah, all the things that Terra Nullius denied. Yeah, so, yeah. So around here it was promoted. I don't know if you've heard of the Bathurst Wars. Yeah, the Bathurst Wars, the person who wrote the letter that initiated the declaration of martial law came from around here. And they didn't want to go what they went through in Sydney. They wanted it over and done with, and they want it over and done with now. So, and that was less than 18 months after the first settlement here to the declaration of martial law. So we're talking about a timeline of less than 2 years. And so, yeah. These are Jibung. Take that off there. They have a really beautiful silver red colour. Right, so that's the one used for tanning or tannin water. Yeah, so you could soak that in water, right? Use it for colouring, use it for colouring for weaving. Yeah, like I said, use it for tannin water. So if you go down to the creek and the tannin pool has that beautiful red rusty colour like your shirt, that's usually tannin from the tea tree that hangs over the pool. Yeah, if you do go bushwalking and you have scrapes and nicks and cuts, you have a quick bath in the tannin pool. And that'll clean up all your cuts and sores. But also if you are camping out for a bit too long and you get a bit scoury because you've been camping out, you drink it. Yeah, take a cupful. I don't know who remembers when we used to have charcoal water. Yeah, whose mum used to get a bit of charcoal out of the fire. There you go. We'd all get a dose of it. Yeah, yeah, same thing. Yeah, it's just a tannin water, so yeah, they're beautiful, and they come off like paper bark when you peel them apart. Yeah, even the environment has a different feel here. You know, so that's what I was saying. We've walked over a ridge line. The grasses have changed. We now have taller, more wet footprint grasses. You know, we've now got stringy barks as well. You know, we've still got the cypress, the pine, but we're certainly moving into a different ecological system. Even the temperature's cooler here. So you can probably almost certainly say that that scar was made intentionally. We do have a water run just down here. It's a soak, but there would have been more water in each of the things. That one's not a birthing tree, but you can also see that that scar tapers here, so it could have come across and joined here. You know, so that could have been a really big coolerman, you know, used for babies or. Also canoes around here, they're not used for transport on the water. Right? So it's mainly to go out onto the swamp to collect eggs and for hunting. We didn't use canoes for travelling up and down the river. Once you've gone downriver, it's pretty hard to come back up with your canoe. It's a one-use canoe then. So they're using for crossing, if it's a river, getting from one side to the other and back for whatever, or going out onto the swamp to collect eggs, things like that. So, well, Songline's your walk path. All right, so the basic Songline, if we start at the beginning, it's your walk path, but it's your journey path. All right, so as you grow, your songlines get bigger. So where you can go, what you can do, but also your responsibility to that songline grows as you grow older. We use these for magic stones. My grandfather taught me a thing about magic stones. So what I might get you to do while we're at this one before we go further on, just have a look around and find a nice coloured stone. There's little red ones, pink ones, blue ones, creamy ones. Just a nice little one that fits in your hand, and just pick it up and keep it in your hand while we walk along. Okay? It's a beauty, isn't it? I might move over this side where there's room. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It looks like Tillich the frog.
It does.
Yeah. Has everyone got their stone in their hand? Their little pebble? Yeah. Who's it starting to tickle in their hand now? No? Who's is warming up? Yeah. All right, what we'll do, we'll gather over here then. All right. We'll come over here, come around here, we'll make a bit of a circle. Because this one's an actual occupation shelter. All right. So there's a couple of things before we go into an occupation shelter or access it, is to let them know who we are and why we're here, all right, what we're doing. If we were coming, all right, traditionally we would walk up this way. This is a water run here, and when it's wet it does run. It's a soak that runs further down here. There's each one of these has a soak running out of it. We've been here when it's run like a little creek. So it would have been pretty good living here. Also, again, you only have to move around that side and you're sitting in the northern sun. And you only have to move around this side and you're out of the wind. And if you set your fire in the right spot, you don't have the smoke in the shelter with you. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go back right to the beginning, where we stood in a circle at the beginning. We'll close that gap up there. That's not a circle. I do this in kindergartens. If we have to hold hands to do it, we can. Yeah. And we're just going to say our name and where we come from. But when you do, I want you to think of your line. I want you to think of how your line ended up here, where we're all standing in the same circle. Because somehow, in some way, all of our song lines have come together at this point, where we're all standing here. All of our old people have come together at this point, where they're here with us now, all right? And with all of my old people here, okay? We've also each put a little bit of magic into each of these stones. Everyone's held on to each of the stones. Everybody has put a little bit of magic into it where they've held on to it. Whose is really tickling in their hand now? Whose is almost burning in there? Yeah, yeah. All right. What I'm going to get you to do is just hold the stone in your other hand and hold your hand out flat, where it was. Is the stone still there? No. Yep, yep. Close your hand. Is it back? Mm-hmm. Is it there? Yeah. All right. So where's the magic coming from?
Our nerves, our senses.
Ourselves. Mm-hmm. It's not the stone. The stone has been used as a vehicle for you to let your magic out, for each of us. All right. Open your hand. Stone gone. Close it. Back again. All right. That's going to last for hours and hours, that feeling. All right. When it's gone, all right, tomorrow, all you have to do is put your finger where the stone used to be, close your hand and pretend your finger's the stone. Yep, whose is back now? That's going to last forever, all right? Because you have the magic in you, all right? But being comfortable to let it out, that your story and your magic is as important as everyone else's, all right? Now we can go into the rock shelter and we'll put our magic stone in there so that they all know who we are and where we come from. But we do have some artefacts around here. You'll see all the artefacts here that we've gathered. So there's chert, again there's the crystal. Yeah. So these ones are silkreete. All right, the silkreete chert. That one there is a really good one. These ones are crystal quartz. Yeah, these are chert. So that's a much finer stone. That one's silkreete. All right, you can get even finer than that one, but you'll see the fracture points. All right, where it's been napped. You know, before they would have lapped it. So yeah, that one's a really nice one too. That one's a silkreete. Yeah, yeah.
So how did these
Yeah.
get here?
Well, they were bought here.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. If you do live on property and you're looking for, it's the thing that doesn't belong. Yeah. So when you walk along and you see something that doesn't belong here, yeah, that's how you tell. Yeah. So when you see that, they're a different colour to the sandstone and all the other rocks around it, the pebbles, they're a different colour to all of them. Right? They stand out like that one there. That's a really nice big piece. That one's a blade that still has its edge on. Right? So, you could sharpen that one and use it, but it doesn't belong here. So they were traded in. Yeah, it could be. Yep, more than likely. Yep. Yeah, we'll put that with the other ones. Yep. But even Sydney sandstone, I've got a grinding plate at home that somebody had stolen, and it came from a Burke. So that was a Sydney sandstone plate this big that had been traded and on-traded, then on-traded all the way to Burke. Yeah. We've got ochre deposits in Sydney on artworks that we know came from an ochre quarry in West Australia. So ochre was a very big trading commodity. Yeah. But the stone itself didn't carry a value. Right? The value or the economy was based on the knowledge of the stone. How to find it, how to use it, how to nap it, where did it come from, how did it get here. So when we find a stone like that, an artefact, one, note that it's there, note exactly where you found it, and then we can start a mapping process of how that stone ended up there and what is the story of that stone.